right. Hey, welcome. I don't know what's going on with my voice, but welcome. Today we are diving into a topic that can truly shift the way that you move through life, right? We are talking about daily soul work. And I think this has come up for me because right now I'm in the process of my inner alchemy program. And in inner alchemy, we are really talking about how we connect with the soul, how we align and hear those voices and those urges and those knowings, and how do we get to the place of kind of trusting and knowing that. So I think because I'm deeply ingrained in that practice and that process with this particular cohort, it's top of mind for me, right? When I kind of was thinking about what do I want to talk about this week with everyone. So daily soul work, right? So today, looking at what is soul work, right? How do you know when that aspect of yourself is calling out for you to connect deeper? So if you've been feeling maybe disconnected or restless, or even like there's something missing, then this is probably for you, right? So I'll be sharing exactly what soul work is, how to recognize when your soul is calling for it, and I'm going to give you three powerful practices that you can start using today, right? These practices can help you feel more aligned, clear, and at peace. Now, if you are like, yes, this is good, I know that this is something that I need, at the end, I am also going to tell you about a live class that I am having at the end of March, where I will give you more tips on how to really tap into accessing this soul wisdom that's already inside of you. All right, so let's jump into it. If you are new, I am Dr. Latoya Davis, and I am really passionate about helping primarily women, right? Helping high achieving women identify where we're kind of not operating in our true power, but where we are operating in programs and limiting beliefs and all of the things that we've been taught and conditioned that we should be doing, that the ways that we could be doing it, and they're not actually what is inside of us, right? So I help us identify those things. And I do that by kind of looking at these universal truth, universal laws, ancestral lineage work, and Akashic records. So here we are. Today we are talking about soul work. So what exactly is it? Simply put, soul work is the practice of nurturing your connection to your higher self. Now, I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole of what higher self is, right? Because there are definitely nuances to that idea of the word higher self. But for our purposes today, just know that the soul, when I am talking about soul work, I am talking about the highest aspect of yourself. Okay. So it is nurturing that connection to the highest aspect of yourself, right? That inner wisdom and the divinity that is connected to you, through you, and with you. And the beautiful thing about soul work and knowing that aspect and connecting to that part of us, I always say the soul consistently wants the best for you, right? Its only job is to help you get to the best and highest version of yourself. So soul work is about aligning with that aspect of yourself that only wants the best for you. Okay? It's about tuning in, listening, and aligning with the deeper truth of who you are. So, what I want to point out though is that soul work is not about trying to be perfect, right? It's not about fixing yourself, because in the realm, or in this notion of soul work, we are all perfectly and divinely created, right? There is nothing to fix. Okay, there is nothing to fix. We are divinely created. And although in our journey and on our walk, we sometimes are doing things that are not in alignment, right? Our goal is simply to get into alignment. Okay. Um, so it's not about following, soul work isn't about like, setting these rigid rules and regulations and protocols and things that you have to follow, and a particular spiritual practice. It's not about any of that. It's not about seeking external validation. Instead, it is at its purest sense reconnecting with you. And that's capital YOU, right? Capital U. It's trusting your intuition, and it is living in flow with your purpose. Now, people often say, what's my purpose? That is probably the question that I get the most in individual client sessions. And it is probably the question that I hate the most, right? Because I always talk about, when people are asking me their purpose, what they're really wanting me to tell them is a very specific, right? Kind of going back to that rigidity, right? There's a very specific thing that I should be doing, right? I should be a teacher, I should be a doctor, I should be a this. And purpose, as it relates to you at soul level, is so much bigger than that, right? And so I often like, but when we are in alignment and we are doing the soul work and we are trusting and knowing what is coming to us and through us, then we are often hearing and we're able to trust those urges, right? Because the other thing is the soul self is always talking to us. Why? Because it is always trying to get us to the best and highest version of ourselves, right? And because of that, it doesn't just leave you out here to kind of flounder and figure it out on your own. Our job is to simply tap in and listen, okay? And so that's what doing the daily soul work does. It creates the tool bag, it creates the capacity, it builds the confidence, it nurtures the trust within ourself that when we hear the soul self, when we see the soul self, when we get the reflections of those things, that we can trust that we can move in alignment with that, okay? The best part about doing daily soul work is that it's not complicated, right? It doesn't take hours of meditation or fancy tools. It really is just a willingness to be present. Why I bring that up is so I try not to get on my soapbox and my high horse all the time, but I believe that a lot of times what pushes people off of a particular path, whatever that path is this formulaic and rigid idea that something requires so much time and effort and energy, right? And like we've mentally psyched ourselves out of doing the thing before we've even started the thing. And I am team, bit by bit, right? I would say we don't write a chapter in a day, we don't write a book in a day as an author, right? I'm very clear, right? We start with the first word, then it makes a sentence, then you have a paragraph, right? Now you have a chapter, and then you keep building. And so understanding that this work doesn't take enormous amounts of effort. We start where we are. And if where we are, or if where you are is, you know what, I got 30 seconds. Give me 30 seconds. All you need is 30 seconds to help tap into your soul, right? If you have a moment to do some deep breath, some intentional deep breathing, that's what you got. That's what it is. And it doesn't require all of these external things. All right. So I just want to lay that out there before I get into kind of the tips and the actual practical tips that I will give you today. And so that should tell you that they're not going to be long or extensive. Okay. So, how do we know when the soul is calling for us to do soul work? Now, I know that question is kind of like, but you just said the soul is always talking to us, and it absolutely is. But we are not always in the place where we hear it, right? So when there's alignment with I hear it, even if I can't figure it out, even if I'm not sure what's being said, even if I'm still in doubt, the fact that there is a stirring, that there is a I feel like something is calling me to do something else. Hmm, I feel like there is a path that I should be going this way. I feel like there is some incongruence that's happening right now. That, that, those, those, those are signs, right? Those are signs because the soul can be talking to you and you not recognize any of those things, right? So it's not that in moments in time that you're not recognizing it. You're just so deep in wherever you are that you haven't reached the place of congruence where it's like, okay, the soul is talking and I'm ready to listen. Okay. But if you were here, if you're listening to this, if you made it this far into the video, right, the soul is trying to get you to do something different, right? And you know it, right? So if you're feeling restless or unfulfilled, even if life looks good on the outside, that was me, right? That was my story. That's really kind of how I even got into this journey of doing this work, right? On paper, all of the things, marriage, kids, didn't really have a financial care. But on the inside, I was like, this shit don't feel good. This don't don't feel good. Something is wrong. Something is wrong, right? Was locked into spirituality in a way, but that started not even feeling, or I should say, in religious practice, and that started not even feeling good, right? So I knew that there was something happening, and I just couldn't put my finger on it. But the call was so strong that, wait a minute, there is something more here, that I knew I needed to kind of just tap in and listen, right? You start to keep repeating the same patterns and you become aware of them. Again, awareness, right? It's like, because again, we probably all have repeated patterns that we don't recognize as a pattern, right? Again, I'm gonna bring myself into this. Today is tell all my business day, right? So even after I separated from my ex-husband, and I was dating, the first few people that I dated, I was like, wait a minute, they're the same person, right? They're on a different spectrum, right? They're on a different spectrum, but it's the same thing. And so that was, to me, this awareness of this pattern. I was like, okay, wait. And then looking back over my life, I've always dated the same person, right? They have always been variations of the same person, but I never saw that because I wasn't at the place yet. The soul hadn't gotten me to the place yet where it was like, look, you're saying you want something different. Put it out here. This is what it is. Let's figure it out. Right? So you realize that you're repeating the same patterns, whether it's in relationships, career, mindset. This is the soul saying, come on, let's make some changes. All right? You feel disconnected from joy, creativity, or your purpose. You're constantly drained, overwhelmed, or stuck in low vibrations. Why is this one a key? Because when we are in alignment and when we are tapped into kind of the what we call it, tapped into our truth kind of soul state, our the energy that it requires for us to do the things that we do is different. Okay. So it doesn't pull us in the same way because we're pulling from a different energetic source. And that's again a whole nother conversation that we won't go into. And then you have an inner knowing that there's something more for you. Okay. I know so many of you can relate to that right now, right? You know that there's something more. All right. So if any of these resonate, know that your soul is speaking. And it is inviting you in the most loving, non-judgmental, and way filled with grace to realign, reset, and deepen your connection. So, why daily soul work matters? So, this matters because when we can build this into our day, one, it just becomes a natural way of life, right? When you start tending to your soul daily, you'll notice shifts in everything. It becomes so ingrained that to not check in with the soul and listen to the soul feels strange, right? Um, Doing daily work helps you gain clarity on your path and the purpose, right? Helps you strengthen your intuition and decision making. This is the one that I really harp on because I feel that what happens is, again, the soul is always speaking, right? But we've been conditioned and taught to not trust the guidance or the urges and the nudges that are coming from within ourselves, right? We've been taught to dismiss that and to seek external validation or to seek external confirmation or to tell ourselves that we're crazy or we're wrong. And when we start to tap into the soul work, then those urges and those things become louder, and you start to see the evidence of the truth of those intuitions, right? And the decisions that you make that are coming from the soul. This also allows you to start releasing energetic blocks that are keeping you stuck. Yeah, I'm sorry. My phone is doing the most between the email messaging and the phone. That's my fault because I didn't silence it, right? So my bad. It helps you feel more peace and more joy. I remember I had a client, and well, I still have her. She's probably one of my longest clients. But she talks about she did the inner alchemy program. At the time, it was called something different. But in that program, we really, really dive into what I call leading a soul led day. Right. That is that is us. And I remember her talking about kind of in our post cohort check in, her talking about like now she goes through the day and she doesn't really have a care. Like she's not stressed, she doesn't have the anxiety, like she doesn't, the things that she used to be concerned about controlling and connect, like she's like it wasn't even a thing anymore. And so for me, that feeling of peace and joy when you start to tap into doing the soul work and seeing the fruits of it, chef's kiss, right? So it's about making small intentional choices that lead to big shifts over time. So now here are your three simple things that I want you to do. All right. And let me just, I said three simple things that I want you to do. I'm going to offer you three things. You can choose which ones you would like to do, what feels easiest, and adapt. Right? I'm giving you kind of a loose blueprint, framework, and some options, and you are free to make it as big or as small as you need to. Because again, bit by bit, right? And we're also team, we celebrate all wins, right? So whatever you do tomorrow that you didn't do the day before, in connection with this idea of soul work, go team. We did it. All right. So first one is when you wake up in the morning. For me, this is really like if I don't do anything else throughout the day, this is the one that is the consistent thing for me. When I first wake up in the morning, before grabbing the phone, before starting the day, it is really taking a moment to check in with my soul self. I give thanks. I give thanks and gratitude first, right? For waking up, because not everybody woke up today, right? So I give thanks and gratitude for waking up. I kind of go through some things I'm grateful for. That's another practice. But since I'm talking about what I do in the morning, I may as well share that too. But the soul, the checking in with the soul thing is just taking a deep breath and putting my hand over my heart and just asking myself, what do I need today? Right? Um, and really being present with that. And sometimes it's not today, sometimes because I recognize my day might be a little bit crazy. So it's like, what do I need in this moment to set me up for a good day? Okay. Um, and then I just write down the, like, whatever. It could be a sentence, it could be a word, it could be a feeling that comes up. Okay. So this is just a simple check in. It starts to build awareness of where you are. Okay. I even do this in my dance classes, right? Sometimes at the start of my dance class, I have the students, we do breathing, we set intentions, and then they get to kind of come up with something that might be um, feeling a little bit strange in the body or needing to release or something like that. All right. Energetic clearing with breath. At any point in the day, if you feel overwhelmed or scattered, just take a moment. You're going to do 7 slow, deep breaths. Okay. And as you're breathing, I want you to imagine, sense, see, feel, or know a golden light filling your body. Right? So as you exhale, you're releasing anything that's stagnant. And as you inhale, you are coming into awareness of that golden light. The thought around this is this golden light is the purest essence of who and what you are. It is this aspect that is connected to source. It is the highest vibration. And so essentially you're infusing yourself with this energy and you're releasing anything that doesn't serve it. And you can add an affirmation, right? I am centered. I am aligned. I am in flow. I am in touch. I acknowledge my soul self, whatever that is. Okay. This can help to reset your energy in just a few minutes, like literally that fast. Okay. And then at the evening time, in the evening, you're going to do another reflection. Okay. Just going to write down, you're going to say, what did my soul teach me today? What did my soul teach me today? And you can write that down. And you can ask, if you do like journaling or free writing, you can also say, I open myself to receive wisdom that my soul wants to share. Right? If you use your Akashic records, right? If you're one of my students or my clients and you work with your Akashic records, this is a great question to use in your Akashic records. Okay. I open myself to receive my soul, what my soul wants to share with me tonight, and just allow yourself to free write, to listen, to download, to record, to receive information. Okay. So this practice helps to strengthen your intuition and connection. All right. So remember, it doesn't have to be overwhelming. It's not about doing everything perfectly. Showing up for yourself in small and intentional ways every single day is great. y'all. And so I mentioned at the start, I had something that I'm working on. So March 29th and 30th, I am doing my virtual Akashic Records class. It's Akashic Records 101. We go through everything that you need to know about one, what the Akashic Records are, how to use them for creating the life of joy, ease, and abundance, right? Tapping into talking about what the soul self is, how you identify and live in this knowing, right, that you are this divinely created soul being. But again, how we access the record safely, how you maneuver through them, how to structure questions. You get to practice in class. So you're getting direct feedback and live feedback from me. We do an energy attunement to help align you to the energy of the Akashic Records. You learn how to access the Akashic Records of others. It's a whole thing, right? Classes are small. The reason the classes are small is one, because it is individualized attention, right? And so I have to make sure that we can kind of all get through everything in that time. And because I do the energy attunement, it does take a lot for me to kind of hold the container for everyone who is in the class. All right. Early registration discount is happening through, I think it's through Monday, or it might be through Tuesday. I can't remember. Or it might be Sunday. Sorry, y'all. I think it's the 17th, whatever day the 17th is. We're on early registration discount. So if you are interested in the class, go ahead and click the link in the description. Can't wait to see you. If you have not already, like, subscribe, and share. I would absolutely love it. I have a goal to get to 500 subscribers by the end of the month. So help me out. They say closed mouth don't get fed, right? So I am sharing my intention. So until next time, let me know what you do, right? So if you do any of those practices, or if you do something else, drop it in the comments. You know, I always come back and comment, like, or share. So feel free. See me in the comments. Until next time, you deserve to live a life that lights you up from the inside out. Peace, stay aligned, liberated, and abundant.